Let's face it, parents indoctrinate their children, and it's very appropriate that they do so.
Barak Lurie wants to indoctrinate your kids, literally. Jesus, where do I even begin on this one? Shouldn't it be more reasonable for a parent to educate their children instead of brandishing in their minds their beliefs are true without any question? Just saying.
Hey folks, Barak Lurie here.
Hey humans, it's me, George3, and I'm here to talk to you and discuss this video. I'm here to show and discuss this video we've been watching. I used to make videos responding to Barak Lurie before, and I kind of stopped. I don't know why. I plan on making even more videos about it. And I recently saw this video, and I'm like, I'm gonna make more videos on this. So, let's dive in.
Speaking once again about keeping the kids all right, and the different steps you can take to ensure that your child never falls victim to the woke agenda, that they never end up one day hating you for your conservative beliefs, whether it's love of God, love of America, and understanding that there is a distinction between male and female, among many other issues of the day.
So many things in such a short amount of time. Holy hell. Okay, let's break this down. Undefined woke agenda brought up randomly, because most people who use the term woke unironically, they tend not to be able to properly define what the word woke means. Not only that, but they tend to view anything outside of the perceived idea of normalcy as woke, such as black people, women, educating people on history and science. So basically anything that isn't straight, white, and mostly male. Because they usually don't like anything that's against what they view as normal, which is minorities. Hating his lower viewers for their conservative beliefs, seeing as how these conservative beliefs are one of the big factors here in America that has contributed to many unpleasant things like, welfare inequality, lack of preservation of valuable resources, the spread of a certain pandemic causing virus, thanks to the spread of misinformation, fighting against healthcare, fighting against gun control, fighting against educational courses from teaching biological sciences or astrophysics, to name a few, the election of a wrinkled up orange, white supremacists, the bombing of abortion clinics, and so much more terrible things that's currently too long to even list. The love of God. There are many non-conservatives who love their God just as much as you guys do. What makes you guys so different? None of you are able to even demonstrate that a God of any kind even exists. So this really doesn't even matter. Love of America. Loving your country is understandable. I understand that. Loving your country while purposefully misleading others into not gaining the right information, these people can form their own educated, subjective opinions, is not a good look. And what was that last part?
And understanding that there is a distinction between male and female.
Male and female. Yeah, because old, uneducated, prudish boomers who learned about sex and gender in high school during one semester in the 70s, during a time when our knowledge and understanding of human body was, at best, barely okay. It must mean that specific knowledge is stagnant and hasn't changed somehow. Barak and people who think like him seem to think that science doesn't change based on reliable, verifiable, repeatable evidence that comes out through over time, for some weird reason. Most of these conservatives would say a man has a penis and a woman has a vagina. But what would they do in situations where a person has both fully functional sex organs? Would somebody who presents themselves outwardly male be called a man to them, even though that they have the genitals of the female sex? What about a feminine individual who has male sex organs? What about somebody who doesn't have any genitals? Or the dozens of other situations I can't even name right now. They don't seem to think these things through, and it's ridiculous.
So let's focus about the word indoctrination.
Alright, bet. Here's Google's definition of the word indoctrination. Indoctrination is the process of teaching a person or a group to accept a set of beliefs uncritically. That is what Barak Lurie is trying to do to your kids. That more or less seems to be the consensus of what indoctrination is. And Barak Lurie wants to force his and his followers' unjustified beliefs down the throats of your kids without question. Because that's what an educator does. Because that's what a modern educator does, right? They shove their beliefs down the kids' throat that they can't prove and tell them not to think about it, or else. Wait a second.
Some people will say, well, look, isn't this just indoctrination, Mr. Lurie? Because after all, you're talking to them about your stance on God, America, climate change, or whatever it might be. You're imposing your views on your child. Shouldn't you let your child discover on his own what he believes based upon information that comes around? Okay, that's garbage.
The answer should automatically be yes. I can't believe I'm repeating myself, but if you're a parent, you shouldn't be forcing your asinine ideological beliefs onto those young, trusting, impressionable minds. Parents should be their child's guides, their teachers, allowing them to form their own opinions. Parents shouldn't shove their beliefs unquestionably down the child's throats. That would just cause a lifetime of resentment and make their child's life harder when they get older. And it also makes them not want to be in their parents' lives as well. And there's been many studies done on this. There are actually studies out there that show the negative effects of indoctrination. Apparently, Barak hasn't read any of them in any way, shape, or form. Now, I could source a few, but I'm going to be just like Barak over here. What? No, I'm just joking. Like this article I found by Why Evolution is True titled, "A Superb Article Against the Religious Indoctrination of Children." Here's a quote from the article, paraphrasing neuropsychologist Nicholas Humphrey. "Children, I'll argue, have a human right not to have their minds crippled by exposure to other religious bad ideas. A neuropsychologist with years of hard work and experience with research is a much more trustworthy individual than some random proselytizer who always gives the worst advice."
Let's face it, parents indoctrinate their children, and it's very appropriate that they do so. In fact, get to it yourself.
You seem to change the meaning of words to fit your ridiculous religious agenda, and you seem to be both aware and unaware of it at the same time.
You cannot be shy about teaching your children your own values. Yes, we indoctrinate.
Why say that you should indoctrinate your kids when indoctrination is not a valuable way of teaching anything? We know that this is a fact. I can clearly tell you were most likely brought up in a home, forced their ridiculous religious beliefs upon you, which is why you think this way. And you think this is okay when it's not. I mean, it's not right. You're simply continuing the cycle of abuse. And yes, purposeful indoctrination is harmful and abusive. Here's a list of symptoms from an article made by Choosing Therapy on religious trauma syndrome. Poor critical thinking skills, difficulty making decisions, decreased sense of self-worth, difficulty building strong relationships, being unfair with mainstream culture, isolation, struggling with fitting in and belonging, nightmares, sleeping issues, eating issues, sexual dysfunction, anxiety symptoms, depression symptoms, grief symptoms, and loneliness, plus more. Forcing your beliefs is not the way to go, Barak.
In so many different ways. We indoctrinate them about how we think about our own country, how we think about our own faith, whether it's Jewish, Christian, Muslim, Hindu, whatever, and how we think about science.
We don't actually indoctrinate our kids with scientific knowledge. Teachers teach them it based on reliable, verifiable, repeatable evidence and allow them to form their own opinions based on evidence and actually hear them out when a problem arises. Like you, Barak.
And how we think about gender, all those things. There's good indoctrination and there's bad indoctrination.
Yes, there are both good and bad indoctrination. And in this case, where you want to force your kids to believe just like you, uncritically, is in my book, bad indoctrination. It is abusive, and it is not a good look for you. It is not a good look for somebody who claims to be a good, godly person. It just isn't. I don't think anyone will accept you crazy, delusional people in a death cult, because those are the few types of beliefs today that still tend to do this harmful, abusive practice. No one should be doing any of this at all. And as a grown-ass man, 3 times my age, you should be well aware of the harms forcing your beliefs onto others, and the community has.
So get to it, because if you don't teach your children with your doctrines, somebody else will.
Finally, something we can actually agree on. No one should be forcing their unjustified beliefs onto others, especially our youth. And that should include you and your ridiculous beliefs of worshiping a fictional, unprovable character in a collection of stories and legends. If you say teachers have no right, what gives you the right to indoctrinate your kids? You don't own your children. They aren't your property. So what gives you the right? What gives you the right to hinder a child's mind to make yourself feel better, Barak? I want to know.
And sadly, these days, it's very often the teachers and administrators of your kids' school. They have no right to indoctrinate your child against your wishes, against what you believe. You believe in God, you should be able to teach God to your child without worry that somehow the school is going to try to reverse that.
I agree on half of this one part. Tell your children about your beliefs. I 100% believe that. Explain to them what you believe and why. If they have any questions, try answering to the best of your abilities. And if you don't have an answer, maybe tell them that you don't have an answer and that you both can find the answers out together. Just a thought. You can easily use the modern resources available to you in today's times. Don't tell them to believe what you believe just because you personally think it's true.
But sadly, we live in that world. The school system, the teachers think that their role is to undo much of the things that you've taught your children.
The school and its underfunded teachers do not work there to force their students to stop believing in things their parents taught them. They are there to teach their kids basic skills and give them relevant information. And it just so happens that that basic information clashes with your Bronze Age beliefs. Science classes teaching the diversity of life and the biological complexities of evolution. It just so happens that the evidence science has about the world, human life, it's completely contradictory to the majority of what Christians believe that their Bible says. It's not science's fault your religion can't stand up to basic scrutiny. Science is just a tool we humans use to discover new things about the world around us. And indoctrination into false hope causes is not something we should be doing at all, especially to our children. Not at all. As I said before, the school system isn't there to force their beliefs down your child's minds. It is a way to educate them about the world around them, to gain basic skills. And it's usually based on facts and evidence. When new evidence is shown to be reliable and repeatable, the old view changes based on better evidence. The reason Barak is saying all this is because he knows getting an education usually tends to make the child see clearly. In this case, Barak's religious beliefs tend to be laughable. And he just thinks that it's all the work of Satan when it's not. It's just that his ridiculous religious beliefs are ridiculous.
The family doesn't even matter. They're teaching you that global warming is so imperative an issue to fight that it's imperative not to have children.
Global warming is an outdated term, and what Barak should have said is climate change. Because the climate is changing, this man does not know a single thing on what he's talking about. No one is saying anything about people not having children because of a topic this man knows absolutely nothing about. Environmental activists educating children about trying to protect the planet, from the harm humans are purposely doing to this planet, mostly corporations, but still. It's not the same as making them uninterested in having kids. That would be poverty and living in a capitalist society that only cares about profit, not the well-being of its citizens.
They're teaching that America is a racist country, that America is a force for evil.
Whoa. Okay, where to begin? The actual history of America is, according to Barak, a bad thing. Teachers giving lessons on the kidnapping of Africans, shipping them off to America, beating them, sexually assaulting them, forcing them into forced labor, selling their children into forced labor, the eradication of the Native Americans, the forceful moving of them into reservations, the treatment of Italians and the Irish, the mistreatment of Japanese citizens during World War II, the mistreatment of African Americans for decades, thanks to racist policies, among other horrible things, does not make them teach that America is racist. It just so happens that the history shows some dark, dark things.
You've got to take on your role as a parent, mother or father, to teach your children your values and help them be strong in their beliefs in those values.
Barak, the advice you've given is horrible, and I can guarantee you've harmed somebody with this nonsense. This show is awful, and I hope you don't get another season.
Do not be shy about the fact that you are teaching your children your values.
I don't know what to say to that. Don't be shy. Most of them are already shoving their unprovable beliefs into our minds already. And your awful advice could cause so much more harm. And you're smiling like it's a good thing, when it's clearly not.
It's like I said, if you don't teach them your values, somebody else is out there looking for the opportunity to teach their values.
Values like loving God or wanting to live for a God are different than finding out what the mitochondria is the powerhouse of. Hint, it's the cell. Or finding out the history of Japanese internment camps here in America. And I have no idea why Barak doesn't understand that.
I'm Barak Lurie. Thanks for watching, and we'll talk with you next week.
I'm George Tree. Thanks for enjoying this video. So, yeah, take it easy, everyone. Bye. So, I wanted to say thank you all for watching. I appreciate every single person who viewed this video. Thank you. If you have any comments or thoughts, leave them be in the comment section. Tell me your thoughts in the comment section, please. I read every single one of them. If you're not already subscribed, please hit that subscribe button. Hit that notification bell so you get notified when I upload next. And yeah, have a great day.